Lieutenant, this is Fox News.
Colonel, is this new tactic of ISIS putting civilians in vehicles, does that slow down the air war?
Well, as we saw, Lucas, on the strikes that we did on the convoys a couple weeks ago, if we're not sure what's inside those vehicles, we will not pull the trigger until we know. And so there was a portion of the convoy that was the north of Fallujah that as that started to form, we thought a portion of that convoy may have civilians, may have family members, or may have women and children. So we did not initially strike that portion of the convoy. But as we watched it with ISR, with our intelligence platforms, and we developed the intelligence picture, we got to a point where we think that they had left. We were able to kind of check to see, yep, everybody's holding a weapon, or everybody's manning a machine gun, or looks like Daesh, and we were able to then go in and strike those portions of the convoy. So it doesn't hold up the air war any more than we already hold ourselves up in trying to ensure that we're not hitting anything but Daesh when we shoot at it. Those are the same normal procedures that we go through. Now, clearly, if we know they're operating that way inside a certain area, as we see inside Manbij, the fight inside Manbij has been very intense. And as it collapses in, it gets more intense, which is sort of different than what we saw in Ramadi and what we saw in Fallujah. And I talked kind of before about the punching through the crust and into the gooey center. The gooey center is there is no gooey center yet. The gooey center is still a tough crust as it collapses back in on itself. Yes, as you're about to strike a vehicle, you want to make sure you know what's inside it. And if you're not sure, you're not going to pull the trigger until you're absolutely sure.
Concern at the command following the successful strike outside Fallujah against those hundreds of vehicles that ISIS has adopted this new tactic of putting civilians in vehicles when traveling.
Well, we actually saw their use of civilians in Manbij this way prior to that strike outside of Fallujah. So the Daesh leaders in Manbij were using the civilians. You know, we talk about human shields, but using them as bait, trying to draw us into shooting civilians as well, trying to draw the SDF into shooting civilians as well. That was happening before the convoy strike. So that was clearly whoever's in charge in Manbij. That was a decision that they made to use those civilians in that way before they saw the results of what happened in Fallujah.